Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you. Before I start, I want to pay my respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I stand today and present to you. And I want to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Thank you to Gertrude and to Ruth and to all the people that have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event possible. I know there have been many, many late nights. I myself have spoken to Ruth at all odd hours of the night. I know how much has gone into putting this together. So thank you so much. To all of the speakers here on this platform, all of you that have spoken today, all of us and all of you that have spoken on the days gone by and will speak in the days to come, I acknowledge you and I say thank you. Thank you for having the courage to share your story, because I truly believe that when we share our personal stories, when we allow ourselves to open up and be vulnerable, we then share with others the growth and the learning that we've had, that then I believe truly engages, empowers, and inspires other people. So to every single speaker on here, I acknowledge you and I say thank you. So I want to start today by asking you a question. Have you ever felt like you are not enough? Raise your hand, maybe give me a nod, put it in the chat. Yeah. Have you ever felt like someone in your past or someone in your current, present, is telling you things like, you will never be enough, you will never become something, you will never be who you aspire to be, you will never fulfill your dreams, because of their limiting beliefs, because of what they believe of you? And what starts happening then is we start listening to that. We start thinking, well, I'm not tall enough, or I'm not strong enough. And you start believing that. We start believing that. And when we start believing it, we start behaving that way. Because we know that what we think is what we feel, and how we feel is how we act. I'm going to quote from here, a quote by Charles Cooley that Jay Shetty uses. And he often says, I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And how true is that? So often we live based on what other people think of us. We sit in boxes and in places that other people have made us fit into and be into. I want to go now and quote from the quote by Marianne Williamson. This quote I love so much. It actually shows up on the front page of my book. And it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. But so often we are afraid to come out and be who we are. We think to ourselves, back to the quote, who am I to be fabulous, talented, gorgeous? But what I want you to do today, and I encourage you to do, is to lean into the next line in that quote by Marianne Williamson, because she says, actually, who are you not to be? Who are you not to be? See, I was born in India, in a city called Calcutta, back in the 1980s. And growing up there, I was told that everything about me was wrong. Now, see, it wasn't because I was left-handed. No, that's something my late grandmother faced. When she was growing up, she was left-handed. But at that time, that was not seen as the norm. It was seen as something different. And because of that, she was forced to use her right hand. They put a bag over her hand, put it behind her, and said, don't use your left hand, use your right hand. Over time, though, my nan became ambidextrous. She would use both. But that wasn't my story. When I was growing up, it wasn't just my left hand that was wrong. No, it was every part of me. My hairstyle, the accessories I chose not to wear, my clothes, the way I stood, the way I folded my arms, the way I walked, every bit about me, I was told, was wrong, because I didn't fit, or I didn't conform into what society thought an Indian girl should be. And I was made to fit into this mold growing up that I didn't fit. And as every part of my being was stripped, see, I was comfortable in shorts and t-shirts and sneakers, running around, having my voice heard. But that was not something that society accepted of me. And I was made to conform, to wear dresses, to wear heels, to put on makeup, to wear earrings, to have my hair like I didn't want it to be. And as every part of this identity was stripped of me, I found bits and pieces of my uniqueness and my authenticity being stripped. It took from me my self-confidence, my self-belief. I lost an understanding of who I was. And what that happened was, as a child, I was very outwardly, I was very open. But as I grew up and I became a teenager, I was self-conscious. I was afraid. I was so scared of being me because I was told that every bit about me was wrong. And what then happened was I saw failure. I failed in school. I failed at uni. I failed at relationships. I was just not functioning. I looked in the mirror and I couldn't see me because I was existing as a shell of myself. And it took moving to Australia and many, many years of self-discovery and to live in a society where it didn't make me conform, that I was then able to explore who the real me was. See, today what I'm talking to you about is my sexuality. I identify as a gay woman of color. But even after I found those words, even after I knew what those words were, I found it so hard to fit into that. Because so long growing up, I was bullied about that. I was bullied in school. I was told growing up in India that I couldn't be gay. So how could I now, as an adult, be an Indian gay woman? No. How could I be an Indian Christian gay woman? That just doesn't fit. So I spent many years traumatized by this whole existence. And I went back into my shell and I had to look deep within. I was broken and I had to look within to actually understand who I was. And after many years of going through that, I found myself on the 8th of August, 2011, standing on the balcony of my 6th floor, 2-bedroom apartment. And as I stood there behind the pillar, I had chosen that day and that very time. I'd chosen that spot because it was far enough from the neighbors and they couldn't see me. And it was also private enough. So if my flatmate came home, she wouldn't know I was there. See, what I was about doing on that day was something that I had never, ever done before. I was about to pick up the phone and have a conversation with my sister all the way in India, who I hoped would be home in her 2-bedroom apartment on the 1st floor. And as I stood there in fear, my hands were shaking, my knees were trembling. I felt in me this rush of emotions that I've never felt before. My heart was pounding. I felt like the champagne cork, that bottle that had been fizzed up and the cork waiting to pop. And as I stood there trembling in fear, I knew in that moment that I had to draw on every ounce of courage in my being, on every bit of strength in my body, because that day I had to break every fear that was drilled into me growing up. And I had to challenge every limiting belief to be able to pick up that phone and tell my sister for the first time, I am gay. And as I said those words for the first time, I felt this release. It was like this weight lifted off my chest and a flood of emotions just kept running through. But I stood there grounded, holding onto that balcony rail with bated breath, waiting for what she was going to say. What was her reaction going to be? The 3 words that she then said to me, I had not planned for. Her reaction in that moment was something I hadn't even thought about in my wildest of dreams. But what she said to me that day changed the course of my coming out journey and put me on a path that has led me to where I am today. A place where I feel comfortable, where I feel confident to stand in my own truth, to own my identity, and to live authentically like who I was always meant to be. And through this journey, I can now say that through self-discovery, that I am comfortable to be myself. And in being myself, I have seen life change. I have seen my career in a trajectory that I never thought possible. I have seen my self-beliefs being built up. I have literally had to go back and build each piece of me that was taken away from me. And through building my self-belief, I now know that when I can be myself and believe in myself, I can then back myself. How many times do we get into situations where we are so comfortable backing our loved one, our partner, our friends, but we feel so scared to back ourselves because we feel worthless. We think, well, who am I to back me? But I want to tell you today that when you can be yourself, believe in yourself, and back yourself, other people will start seeing that and will believe in you and back you. And that's what I call the Anything is Possible framework. It's coming out in my book. My book is called Growing Through, and it's going to be published very soon. And in that book, I talk to you about my 3-part framework, about anything is possible when you be yourself, believe in yourself, and back yourself. And when you do this, then you can start growing through life. And you're wondering, what is growing through life? Well, I truly believe that in life, we get to points where there's no way out and there's no way through. The only thing that there's no way out and there's no way around. The only way is through. And at that point, we get to make a decision. Do we simply get through? Do we simply go through? Or do we make a conscious decision to grow through? Because it's when we make a decision to grow through life, that's where possibility lies. That's where change lies. So I want to go back to that quote by Marianne Williamson, where she says, when we let our light shine, we unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. When we are liberated from our fear, we automatically liberate others. So I want to encourage you today to never let somebody else's self-belief and limiting beliefs limit your own belief. Have the courage to stand in your own truth and be yourself, believe in yourself, and back yourself, because that is when anything is possible. Thank you.